Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 News. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our usually weekly, although there wasn't one last week, but that's okay. Bear with us. We talk about movie news on this show. We talk about shows, movies that are in development. We talk about box office. We have a horror movie section.
You take 1 week off and you forget
Shut up.
I just want to tell the viewers. You said, right, okay, recording, you did the countdown into the starting, and then halfway through you went, oh shit, I should probably open up the news.
Look, it's pretty late. Connor pushed this recording back by about 3 hours later than we normally do it.
Like 1.5 tops.
Piss off.
Shut up.
You have a funny concept of time.
I really do have a funny concept.
I'd have been ready to go. Anyway, so yes, we also look at the box office and make some guesses for the upcoming weekend, which works better when we do it every week, admittedly. Obviously, we have 2 weekends to look at from what we've missed, but we did make guesses for the previous week. So that's what we do on the show, and at the end of the show, we'll talk about any movies that we watched that weren't for review purposes. Although I did a thing this week where I just reviewed something on my own, so I don't actually have anything to talk about. But
what'd you do that for?
Because I had things to say. So you can go check out my 35-minute solo review of Searching from 2018.
Oh boy, you went that long.
Yeah.
I watched movies, I think, maybe. It's been 2 weeks, I might have done. We'll have a look when we get towards the end.
Oh yeah, it's been 2 weeks. Maybe there was something else the week before. I don't think there was, but maybe there was. I don't know.
I might have watched something.
Anyway, so we'll start off with box office. And like I say, we've got 2 weekends to look at. We did make guesses for the weekend of February 1st to February the 3rd. So the new entries were Miss Bala and Arctic.
I don't remember what we guessed for either of those, like even remotely.
Although
I assume low, but who knows? Why are you looking so confused?
you'll find out in a second. So number one that weekend was Glass, which was its third weekend with 9.5 million.
Oh, what did we guess?
Number 2 was The Upside with 8.6 million. Number 3 was one of the new entries, Miss Bala. You guessed 13 million.
What did you guess?
I guessed 12 million.
Oh, god damn it.
Miss Bala opened with 6.8 million, so not. I mean, it was only a $15 million budget, admittedly, but still, it's not a good opening weekend. It doesn't matter what your budget is. I think that's. I think 6
How
is.
wide? I mean, how wide a release are we talking here?
2,200 screens.
So reasonable. Okay.
Yeah, it's a wide release.
Yeah.
Number 4 was Aquaman with 4.8 million. Number 5 was Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse with 4.5 million.
Is Arctic on this 10?
Number 6 is Green Book with 4.3 million. Number 7 is The Kid Who Would Be King with 4.2 million. Number 8 is The Dog's Way Home with 3.6 million. Number 9 is Escape Room with 2.9 million. Number 10 is They Shall Not Grow Old with 2.3 million. Now,
obviously Arctic didn't make that, and when we made our guesses, I have a vague memory of, you know how you went one below me?
Uh-huh.
I have a vague feeling you went one above me on Arctic.
I did. You guessed 7, I guessed 8.
So I've won that one.
You've won that one. But here's the weird thing. We clearly didn't understand how wide this release was going to be.
I asked you, was this a wide release? You went, yeah.
Well, I think something changed. Because it came in at number 41 with 50,000. So
Did that have what, like 2 cinemas?
It must have 4 screens. That's 4 screens.
Oh man, I wasn't that far off.
So clearly something changed from when we checked it till the release weekend.
I assign all of the blame to you.
Something obviously changed. You know, I was reading what Mojo was telling me, and
Of course you were.
where don't you think I get these numbers from? Don't pull them at my arse.
You might do. When I ask you a question like, "Is this a wide release?" You might go, "Yeah," just because.
So this past weekend, though, 8th to the 10th of February, we got the estimates in for it. Number 1 is the Lego Movie 2, the second part, which I'm not going to lie, I had no idea was coming out this past weekend.
I knew it was coming out in February.
Right.
I thought it was next week, but I mean,
I had no
apparently
idea. That was 34.4 million. Is that good for Lego Movie 2?
I don't know. I don't know what the first one did. I feel like the first one did pretty well.
Maybe the first one didn't do that much better than that. I don't know. Let me
I'm
have a
not
look.
actually sure.
Franchise Lego Movie.
Animated movies don't tend to steamroll out the gate, though. Aside from your Disney Pixar's.
Well, no, week one of Lego Movie 1 was 69 million.
Okay,
And that was
so
all,
this is
and that
disappointing.
was basically the exact same time of year. That was the first weekend of February or second weekend.
Yeah, trying to hit that February. Yeah. Okay, that's disappointing for them.
That's less than half of what the first one made opening weekend.
Yeah.
So,
It might have some legs though.
it may have legs, but that's definitely low. Number 2 is What Men Want, which is the weird kind of reboot spin-off of What Women Want.
Already?
Sorry?
Is that out already?
What do you mean already? We got a trailer for that like 8 months ago.
I know, but then I didn't hear anything else about it for ages, so I just kind of assumed it wasn't.
Well, it made 19 million, which honestly for that is probably fine. It apparently had a $20 million budget, so
Yeah, it's fine.
close enough, I guess. It'll probably be fine. Number 3 was Cold Pursuit, your Liam Neeson action movie of the same plot of the last 5. Number 4 is The Upside with 7.2 million. What's that? Oh, that's the remake of the French movie with Cranston and Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Number 5 is Glass with 6.4 million. So actually, that spent 3 weeks at number 1 and then went to number 5 for week 4. So, I mean, it shows that its third weekend was really just because there was no competition. But
Yeah. That third weekend was just
a gift.
Yeah, it was kind of shit all round, wasn't it? I mean, Glass did fine for its third weekend, don't get me wrong. But
Yeah.
Overall, it wasn't a great weekend.
Number 6 was The Prodigy with 6 million. That was a new entry as well. Number 7 was Green Book with 3.5 million. Number 8 was Aquaman with 3.3. Number 9 was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with 3 million. And then number 10 was Miss Bala with 2.7 million. And its second weekend, may I?
Hey, that's 2.7 million more than you've got.
Yes, because we compare movie grosses to personal incomes. That's how we judge if they were successful or not. Yeah, that makes sense.
Why not?
Miss Bala worldwide has made 11.9 million.
What was its budget?
15.
Oof. Yeah. Okay.
It's struggling.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, that was the top 10. I don't have any hot takes really.
Is there anything interesting next week?
Oh, there is. Happy Death Day to You is coming out next week.
Okay, I was gonna make sure you specified interesting, but fine.
Also, Isn't It Romantic is out, which is also a wide release. Apparently having more screens than Happy Death Day 2, which is a Rebel Wilson romantic comedy for also Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's the deconstruction of the rom-com, right? I'm pretty sure that's what that one is. I vaguely remember it.
I have no idea what it is.
I'm sure we did a trailer for this because I remember this one.
Well,
the tables have turned.
Well, no, see, now I question why you remember this one, but every other interesting one you somehow forget.
I don't know. This one, clearly all the other ones, it's like, yeah, it's a sci-fi movie. We cover so many of those that kind of start to blur as to which one's which. This one, we don't watch that many rom-com trailers, so this one obviously stuck in there a little bit more.
I don't think we did do this. Alright, but we're going to do guesses for both, so...
Yeah. What was the first one again?
Happy Death Day, you
yeah.
pillock.
What was the first one again?
I know what you're doing, I'm not doing it.
You did it so much when this came out. And you did it in your review. Probably. I'm almost certain you would have done.
I don't know what you're talking about. You have no evidence of a damn thing. Isn't It Romantic? It's the second one, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while Peter has a think about this, I just want to complain to
what?
our YouTube viewers that Peter's changed the overlay and there's some new fonts going on. And I'm sorry that my Twitter handle looks awful because he's picked a font with a really shitty R, and my name has 2 R's back to back, and it looks awful, and it's all his fault. And I feel like I'm glowing purple a little bit here. In this. I don't know if it's a trick of the light with the little purple outline around the box, or if because I'm in a relatively darkened room and purple's quite bright on my screen.
Oh my god!
I don't know if I'm feeling purple.
As I mentioned earlier, we're doing this like 3 hours later than normal. I want to go to bed. Like I'm ready to go.
Me too, but
So
I'm loopy now.
So shut up and let's get on with the show, please, please. Also, the font in the Twitters is the Male Fuzz TV font. It's the same font as the main logo. There's a reason why it was picked.
It's fine on that, yeah, because there's no R's in that. You never tested it with the double R, clearly.
Shut up. Fine, your name's now Connie-ian. You're just going to have to deal with that.
Fine, I'll take it.
Right.
Can I change my Twitter? And I don't know if I can or not.
What is your guess for Happy Death Day?
13. Because it's coming out on the 13th, I think.
Interesting. I will subdue my expectations a little bit because I don't have to actually do that well now to win, but I'm going to say 25. And
this could be really interesting if it splits the difference.
And now I'm going to go and check what the first one did because I'm fairly certain it did better than what you.
It probably did. I don't know.
Happy Death Day. What was the first weekend?
I do admit.
Oh, the first one was 26 million the opening weekend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. It just has to match the first one basically then, and
what I need to do is pull a Lego movie.
Nah, you kidding me? Horror movie on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it's been done.
Aye, successfully. It'll be successful again. This is how things work. Okay, what's your guess for Isn't It Romantic?
10. No, it's bullshit. This is gonna wildly over succeed. This will be more like 23.
Okay, I am going to say 15. And I hope I'm more right than you because I want Happy Death Day 2 to outgross it. Thank you very much. By quite a margin, hopefully. So
you don't even know if it's a bad film yet. This is very unfair. It might be the better film.
This is more about rooting for Happy Death Day than it is about raging against the other one, to be honest. But that's what it is. All right, what are we doing now? News. We got news to talk about.
We do. It's got a title of whatever section we are on.
Yes. Comic book movies, first of all, as we usually do. So first up, here's something that I did not expect to read this week. Warner Brothers have got 2 screenwriters. Noah Gardner and Aidan Fitzgerald have been hired to write The Trench. What is The Trench, you might ask?
Well, I mean, Aquaman made $1 billion, so they all probably know already.
I don't know if they do. Like, how much did it really emphasize what they were called?
Yeah, I know. I'm just salty that this is the result of $1 billion. This is what happens. You get what may end up to be a perfectly fine movie. Don't get me wrong, but this is a horror-ish movie spin-off from the villainous kind of area. The trench, all those creatures in Aquaman.
Villainous area.
Just because it's kind of an area.
Monstrous. I would go with monstrous, not villainous.
Yeah, monstrous. Look, we established it's late. I'm tired. We're loopy. But
this is just, oh my god. Right, so the Trench are these creatures in Aquaman. They're relatively new. They were introduced about 7 years ago. And
I mean, yeah, fine.
Oh, yeah, it's probably close to 8 now, actually. Yeah. Oh no, not
I'm like in the middle, 7.5.
Yeah, but anyway, so these creatures are Aquaman, and they had a sort of brief cameo essentially in the Aquaman movie. And because Aquaman's made over $1 billion, Warner Brothers, it feels like, are just like, oh, do everything you can to spin things out of Aquaman. Now, here's the thing, like, you tell me there's going to be a trench horror movie. It's just about the trench and the creatures. I'd be like, alright, that sounds like a fine idea. It's kind of random, but okay. I think there is a bit of cynicism here because it's just because Aquaman made money, and two, it's because Warner Brothers' track record recently with DC movies, you know, one good Wonder Woman movie and one decent Aquaman movie does not make me think I trust them in everything they're doing.
Do you know how I feel on the, you know how you often say you feel about like a Joker movie, for example, of like just kind of why, like it's the villains exist in opposition to the heroes. That's usually their best stories, not when you just okay, here's the villain as the protagonist of the movie. And I'm sure the Trench won't be the protagonist.
Oh, but here's the weird thing though. This Trench movie almost by default will actually be more in line with what I think a villain movie should be.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Because what I've always said about a Joker movie is that if you're going to do a Joker movie that's called The Joker, he shouldn't be the protagonist. It should be a horror movie where the Joker's the villain. There's just no Batman to save everyone. It's how do regular people deal with the Joker. So naturally, you can't make speechless monsters the protagonist. So by its nature, this will be a creature from the Black Lagoon kind of on steroids with the Trench.
Until Warner managed to find a way to make them the hero somehow.
No, they can't. It's impossible.
Oh, impossible is a strong word.
So, like, I don't think this is actually a terrible idea. The idea of taking something like this and like just doing a monster movie out of this villain, given this type of villain. I think my cynicism comes from just, like we can't even get Superman right, and we're doing a Trench movie.
Yeah, I'm cynical because look, Aquaman made $1 billion. What can we do? Anything. It's a horror movie, so we can kind of get that out nice and quick, comparatively to some of the bigger ones they've got coming.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning. This is not Aquaman 2. There's a separate Aquaman 2 in development. So
yeah,
this will not star Aquaman or Mira or anyone else big from the movie.
Yeah, so I just kind of feel like, why? I don't know. It's just another DC movie where I go, why?
Well, the why is obvious. I mean,
beyond the hey, $1 billion.
No, but there's multiple reasons why. There's financially, yes, why $1 billion. From a creative standpoint, I get wanting to do a horror movie about something like The Trench. I actually get that. I do. The why is not the problem here. The problem here is lack of faith in their ability to do this properly. Because of the reason why being financial, it feels that they're just throwing things because Aquaman was successful, so do more Aquaman things. Even though I don't think Aquaman was successful because it was Aquaman, it was successful because it was okay.
Yeah, it's
probably
baffling.
too successful for what it was.
Baffling that it was that successful, based on just being, hey, this is all right.
But now, the why is obvious. Like, I feel like you're like sitting there going, "Why?" Every time they announce a movie. Like, I get why. The why is always obvious.
Yeah, okay. Why beyond the cynical reasons, which is all I'm seeing here personally.
That's what. I mean, honestly, this one more than half the other things they announce has more of a why.
Yeah.
There's a creative thing here. There's a creative idea here that I can kind of see. Now, admittedly, I don't necessarily believe for a second that this idea came first and then Warner Bros. Went, yeah, that sounds good. Like, I'm fairly certain they had a room full of people try to think of things to do with Aquaman that they could spin off and do more.
Someone give us anything.
Like, this feels like it came out of a factory rather than from a creative place, but, like, I can see the small budget potential in something like this, which they did say it would have a smaller budget, and Wham would be producing, but it would not be behind the camera or in any way involved creatively. So, but hey, the Trench is a thing. Next up, this is not so much news as I thought it was just interesting to mention this comment because I think there's just to sort of remind everyone where we are with the New Mutants and the Fox X-Men movies, right? Lauren Sheila Donner, who's the big producer sort of behind these films, was talking about this with Deadline and talking about that there's still an August 2nd theatrical release date for New Mutants, but there has been rumours about it going to Hulu instead of getting released theatrically.
Yeah.
And when asked about this, she responded simply by saying that she they put a lot of work into it and that she would be she'd hate to see it thrown at Hulu, which I would note is her not saying that's incorrect. She's just saying she doesn't want it to.
And it sounds like it's whatever happens, I don't have a choice.
Yes, it doesn't sound like she has a say, really.
She might not even know officially what's happening yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's that because I don't think she doesn't know because she's not in the loop. I think she doesn't know because no one's decided anything
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, exactly. Like right now, officially, probably is still the theater date. Like internally, like, but they're like, yeah, maybe it's worth this, but probably nothing's been
Because
signed.
to me, the obvious answer to this, if it's like a firm we believe this is coming out on the 2nd of August theatrically, the answer to this would be, no, that's ridiculous, it's got a release date, it's 2nd of August. But the fact that she didn't even just say, oh, the thing you've heard is the official line, the date we've had is the official thing, she almost gave it more credence by saying, oh, I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's actually giving it more credence. And then she went on to say that she trusts that X-Men will be in good hands with Feige, which, I mean, I think everyone's expecting it to do better under Feige, so,
Probably.
go for it. So next up, Peter Dinklage, Netflix, Matt Reeves are working together on a movie based on a Boom Studios comic, or a graphic novel as it says here in the article. It's called Last Sons of America by Philip Kennedy Johnson and Matthew Dow Smith. So, there's one Matt Reeves is not directing this; he's just producing. But
Okay, interest level lowered slightly.
Josh Mond is going to direct and is adapting the screenplay.
I don't know who that is.
Nor do I. Dinklage will star in the film set in the not-too-distant future where Americans are no longer able to conceive and children have become a valuable commodity around the globe. In this world, brothers Jackie and Julian being Dinklage, operate as adoption agents in Colombia, securing deals with families willing to give their children up for presumably a better life in America. When the brothers suddenly find themselves with their backs against the wall, Jackie makes a grave mistake that sends them spiraling into a dark mystery to the root of their world's status quo.
Okay. I'm struggling not to think of Handmaid's Tale and the core premise idea with the shortage of the kids.
The first thing I thought of was Children of Men.
That too, yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen that though.
Because that's just flat out no one can conceive. This at least made it sound like that. Although the fact that some families still have kids either implies that some people can still conceive rarely, or it's close enough to the time this started that people still have kids.
Yeah, I think that's why I went to Handmaid's Tale first, in that there are still some, they can have kids, just not everyone.
Or most, perhaps, would be more accurate.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like people are training their kids for passage to a better life.
Yes.
Which, sounds pretty dark. So, final comic book movie news this week. Shrink, which is an IP. It's an IP from Rob Liefeld, which is being produced. It's been developed at Sony Pictures by Doug Belgrad. It's about a female psychiatrist with a superhero clientele. The story has been described as a high-concept twist on Analyze This, and is apparently a mid-6, again, 7-figure deal for the comic book career. So, Liefeld is doing okay.
He's swimming in it, isn't he?
Yes. So, I don't know why.
No one knows why.
Well, no, we do know why. See, I just did what you do, because that's your go-to thing, is just to yell why, as if it has any meaning or weight, and you come off as very one-note. I just did that. I'm guilty of it. I apologise, everyone. I pulled a corner.
It's called cynicism, and I excel in it.
Yeah, but you can be creative with cynicism. The why, and this is still cynical, is because Deadpool made a lot of money, and Sony want their Deadpool, so they have bought something from Liefeld, and they even mentioned that the tone and the humour is probably going to be similar to Deadpool.
Of course it is.
So this is an Analyze This superhero take with Deadpool humour. So yeah, that's the comic movies. So we'll move on then to the blockbusters. So yeah, first up we have a release date for Monster Hunter, which is the video game adaptation by Paul W.S. Anderson starring Mila Jovovich, which, I'm just happy they're not making any more Resident Evil movies. So this is coming out on September 4th, 2020, which is actually a little bit further away than I'd expected, because they actually finished shooting this already. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. There was set photos like a while ago, right?
Yeah, I guess they're planning lots of effects work, or maybe they're planning reshoots. I don't know.
Maybe. I wonder if there's something that they know about that date that we don't. I mean, in terms of a new game.
Maybe they know something.
Yeah.
But, So that's Monster Hunter. Next up, World War Z has been basically, well, the sequel to World War Z, rather, to be specific, has been essentially cancelled. They've not officially said it's never happening, but the current one that was in development with David Fincher set to direct, which is of course was it was the most interesting thing about it. It's like, why is Fincher directing a sequel?
Yeah.
That's fallen through, apparently due to budget reasons. So it seems like they couldn't agree on a budget for whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah, I forgot this existed.
As did I. It's been a long time since anyone's mentioned it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so World War Z is or World War Z 2 specifically is no more.
Yeah. Oh well, who cares?
So, I mean, they said it was or they didn't say if it was shelved indefinitely or if it was going to go back into development. But honestly, at this point, I think it's probably just dead.
It's not like there's a huge amount of brand recognition where they're like, we need to have a sequel, right?
Well, the first one did quite well though. That's why they wanted another one.
It did at the time, but it's kind of not into obscurity, but it's been relatively forgotten about.
It's been a while. Next up, Nickelodeon and Netflix have set a deal for 2 animated films based on their properties, two of their shows specifically. These are not going to be connected to the shows themselves though, so they're based on these shows, but they're not in continuity with the shows. They're kind of standalone. One, of course, is The Loud House, which I have never really heard of. I looked it up.
like I say, of course, like we know what this is.
I looked it up though. It sounds like it's an animated comedy about a kid who is the loudest of 11 siblings in a family. So
it's too many.
That's what it is. Of course, it's too many. Much more reasonable number is 4, which is what the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have, which is the other movie. It's Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is the name of the current show they've got. So this is going to be a standalone Turtles animated movie for Netflix, which I am far more interested in because I like Turtles. So
yeah, Turtles be cool.
But hey, so that's it. Yeah, there was no description for the plot or anything like that. But I mean,
it's just, hey, we're doing a movie.
We're doing Turtles, and I like Turtles, so that's cool. Next up, Assemble Media has acquired Potosi. That's Potosi. That is a sci-fi short story written by Joe Pitkin and published by the Analog Science Fiction and Fact magazine. So this is coming from one of the producers of Lost in Space on Netflix. They're developing this movie as a deep space thriller. Pitkin's 10,000-word story is set in the near future where resources are scant and corporations and countries ruthlessly compete for them. The action follows Solomon, an astronaut and family man who reluctantly agrees to lead a secret mission to secure a platinum-rich asteroid before the rival countries discover its treasure. Solomon soon realizes that a rival faction has already reached the asteroid and that his own team includes a dangerous traitor within its ranks.
Sounds alright.
Yeah, you can kind of see the movie in your head.
Do you know what? It's something that dawned on me as you read out the first part. You said, "Oh, 10,000-word story," and I went, "I don't know how long that is." Like you said, "Oh, 10,000." In terms of visualizing the book, I have no idea if that's like really long or if it's just kind of short. You got any concept of when they say, because they say that like it's supposed to mean something in that sentence?
Yeah, just based on like essays I'd write in uni. Like I never did a 10,000 one, but I can kind of take the 5,000 one I did and double it. So
yeah, I'm just looking to see. You get a rough idea. Okay, so in A4 you're looking at about 20. Okay, so we're looking at about 50, 60 pages of a book. Okay, so it's kind of short.
Yeah, well, we said it was a short story. It was in a magazine.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just like I can't visualize it. Like 10,000 words means nothing to me when we're talking about books.
Why does it have to mean something to you?
Otherwise, what's the point in telling me?
It's a bit of texture. It's a bit of texture to go with it. The description is the important part.
Yeah, description's interesting enough.
Yeah, I like what it's talking about. I like all those concepts.
Yeah.
So I think this is one where if it nails the visuals, if there's a really nice visual style to it, it'll really sell it.
That will be important for this one.
Next up, Netflix has acquired the North American rights to I Am Mother, a sci-fi thriller from first-time director Grant Spotur, which premieres in it's in the premiere section of the Sundance Film Festival. So I actually remember talking about this when it was in development.
Remind me.
So it's about a teenage girl who is the first of a new generation of humans to be raised by Mother, a robot designed to repopulate Earth after the extinction of humankind. The pair's unique relationship is threatened when an injured stranger, played by Hilary Swank, arrives with news that calls into question everything daughter has been told about the outside world and her mother's intentions.
Yeah, I do remember this one. Interesting to see it go to Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Are we in the Netflix section here?
it wasn't intentional, but no, those two were Netflixy. More the sci-fi section, because the next one, Eclipse Pictures, has boarded the Skybound Entertainment Radar Pictures thriller EXO, as EXO, which Cedric Nicholas Troyan, who directed The Huntsman Winter's War, is going to direct. Cast is going to be done shortly with an estimated spring 2020 production start. So this will be a 2021 movie by the time it comes out.
Yeah.
In EXO, over-imaginative high school senior Nathan has spotted an uptick in local UFO sightings. And when the new girl, when the new girl next door, Kira, spelled with a Y. Is that how you don't usually spell Kira with a Y, do you?
Not usually. I've seen it done though.
Kira starts behaving mysteriously and he becomes suspicious. Defying his ultra-disciplined father, Nathan decides to investigate further, eventually coming to an unbelievable discovery. So, I mean, I'm assuming she's an alien. This one sounds like a little bit young adult to me. But
yeah, there's two potential angles for this. Either just she's an alien, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or this is another Body Snatchers remake.
Oh, sure.
I mean,
sure.
Still kind of, yeah, okay, she's an alien, but more specific.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the director doesn't fill me with much confidence, although the premise is fine if generic.
I think the second Huntsman was regarded better than the first, but I mean, I don't know if that's much stock to put in.
Yeah, I obviously never chose to see it.
Yes. Never saw either of them. I was good.
Me either.
So, moving on, Ruby Rose, who of course was in The Meg and will be Batwoman. Well, she was Batwoman briefly, but she's going to be Batwoman more full-time soon.
Probably.
Probably, yes. Well, she's at least going to be in a pilot. So, she's been attached to a new film called Doorman, which is from Rihei Kitamura, who directed... He directed... I actually know more from Japanese movies. I mean, obviously he's Japanese given his name, but... I think if you're looking for Western films, you're looking at Midnight Meat Train, which was not particularly good. He did do a film called Sky High that I quite liked. People liked his film Versus. I wasn't so hot on it, but those were the two Japanese movies of his that I saw. So, Doorman, which is slated to shoot in April 2019, tells the story of an officer in the Marines who becomes traumatized while serving her country and returns home looking for an opportunity to heal. She seeks refuge as a doorman at a labyrinthian, historic New York apartment building, but discovers that mercenaries are intent on destroying everything in their way to retrieve precious art hidden in the building walls. So it sounds kind of die-hardy.
It does. I can 100% see Ruby Rose in that role.
Oh, yeah. I think like this sounds like it could be a fun Die Hard knockoff, but at the same time, I can also see how this could quickly just become really mediocre.
Yeah. With some good direction, this could be a fun action movie, though.
Yeah, and Ruby Rose isn't the most charismatic actor, but that's okay for an action movie if she has presence.
Yeah.
And if she has that presence and she's using her tough girl kind of demeanor.
I would say generally speaking, she does have presence, especially for this type of role.
Yes.
So I mean, it could be an alright time.
So that's called Doorman. Next up, this is the first acquisition since the First Look deal was made with Warner Brothers and Michael B. Jordan's Outlier Society. They've acquired the film rights to Marlon James's new fantasy epic novel, Black Leopard, Red Wolf. Based in African mythology, Black Leopard, Red Wolf follows Tracker, who has...
Try and say that title 5 times fast.
Black Leopard, Red Wolf. Black Leopard, Red Wolf. It's not even the Red Wolf, it's just Black Leopard.
Try and say that 5 times.
Black Leopard, Black Leopard, Black Leopard, Black Leopard. Okay. So it follows Tracker, who has a keen sense of smell. He's hired to find a missing child against a backdrop of competing kingdoms and violent political upheaval. The story touts a wild cast of characters, including a witch, a shape-shifting leopard, a murderous hyena, and conjoined twins. It is the first book in James' Darkstar trilogy, where African myth, fantasy, and history come together. So this is the first of a trilogy, potentially.
Sounds like my sort of thing. I might check this book out.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure how much I was into it until it said, "Oh, there's a witch and a shape-shifting leopard." And I'm like, "All right, okay."
It's got you a bit more
I'm
interested.
like, "Okay, there's some things going on here."
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it might end up being a bit too fantasy for you.
It could do, yeah.
But I mean, you know what? I'm a sucker for mythologies.
Mm. Yeah, so that's in the works. Next up, Existence is in development. It's a survival story. It's based on a screenplay by Anthony Jawinski, who wrote the thriller The Shallows. It actually says the hit thriller. But I almost avoided that intentionally because I can't say the hit without going into something else. So it'll be directed by Brad Anderson, who worked on The Machinist, if you've seen that with Christian Bale. So he's you know he's also done some episodes of TV shows. I'm sure he did some episodes of Breaking Bad and maybe even Better Call Saul.
I mean, I'll take your word for it.
I'm sure I saw his name pop up in those. So it's produced by Tucker Tooley Entertainment. It is the harrowing story that was inspired by the 1981 ill-fated shipwreck of a research vessel that became marooned after a typhoon on a remote island, the North Sentinel Island in the Indian Ocean. So we've got a bit more here for this. So it's 1981. Upon exploring the terrain, the surviving crew encounters multiple terrors not only from the forces of nature, but also from a sect of people who have existed in a primal state for about 60,000 years. Widely considered to be the last remaining pre-Neolithic society on Earth, the North Sentinelese tribesmen have successfully saved themselves from extinction by exercising their right to resist all integration with the outside world, avoiding the catastrophic violence and disease that such contact has historically brought to other indigenous people.
Cool. Sounds alright.
I wonder what the tone of this is going to be. Is this going to be like this sort of sad, sympathetic thing where you know the regular people wash up in this island and ruin the lives of these poor indigenous people?
I imagine that's kind of what you get at the end. I don't.
Right.
I think the tone is mostly them trying to sort. Mentions the horrors of nature as well,
Yeah,
right?
So it's a survival movie, and then these people are probably going to seem dangerous for a fair while.
Yeah, and then and they'll probably cause some damage in their attempt for survival and get to the end and be like, oh shit, we might have ruined things.
Yes. Yeah, so you can see how it'll go. But so that's called Existence. So that takes us on to the horror movie section of this week's show. We start off with Male 81, which is a Stephen King book. So naturally, we have director Alistair Legrand has been set to direct this. It's a supernatural horror thriller. Production is planned for fall this year. Casting is underway. So it's set around a remote, boarded up rest stop. The film will follow a 12-year-old Pete, his brother, and a group of strangers who must fight for survival as they're hunted by a mysterious force.
Sounds like a King story.
It does. I like the setting though. I like the
that wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I like King stories.
I like the setting though, so I'm down for this. Hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's good. So that's that. Next up, Rebecca Hall's been set to star in The Night House, a new horror thriller being directed by David Bruckner, which is the important part here because he directed The Ritual, which was pretty damn good. So
I've still not seen it, but I've heard many a good thing.
It's a pretty good and well-directed movie. So, because this description is pretty simple and basic here. Ben Collins and Luke Piotrowski penned the script, which centers on a widow who begins to uncover her recently deceased husband's disturbing secrets, and the film's set to begin shooting in May. So that description is very simple and vague, and it's also the sort of description that I assume is going, I can see how this will be bad in 100 different ways. The director is what makes it good news, what makes it interesting news, at least.
I will have to take your word for it.
Good. You're better off doing that. So, pardon me. So, final story this week then is that we actually have a writer in talks for the Halloween sequel. Scott Teems is in talks to write the script, which is actually based on a treatment that he already wrote. So he actually wrote a treatment for the sequel, and now it looks like he's been hired to actually write the script properly. So that's what's happening. Teams also wrote Blomkamp's upcoming adaptation of Stephen King book, Firestarter.
Blomkamp's doing a Stephen King thing?
Yeah, and The Breathing Method. So both of those are in the works at Blumhouse.
No way.
So yeah, so clearly like this dude. I hope the sequel's good. I mean, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up. You know what? I was burned with the last one. I didn't like it that much.
Yeah.
So, you know,
fair enough.
I'm staying muted on my anticipation.
I get that. Me too.
Maybe a trailer will sway me, but you know, obviously I'm going to report on it. It's a Halloween thing, you know. It's I need to talk about it, but that's actually the news though this week. That is the movie news.
No, it's not. I got one that you missed.
Oh, go on. What is it?
So do you remember that Ted Bundy movie with Zac Efron?
Vaguely.
I'm sure we've spoken before.
Yeah,
It's called Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, which is a hell of a long title and just awkward. That got bought by Netflix this week.
Okay.
They paid like $9 million for it, which is, you know, relatively speaking, quite a lot for this. I think it's premiering at a festival this past week and it's getting some reasonable reviews. So I think Netflix are going to be quite happy with it. You know, because obviously they did the Ted Bundy tapes just a couple of weeks ago. So this, for them, it's like, oh, you know, this is an easy, you know, cross promotion. It's easy to get people in on this. You know, obviously it's got name recognition anyway. This has been in the news for a while. I feel I've been hearing about this.
Yeah, fair enough. There you go. So that is news for this week. Do you want to talk about any movies that you watched?
Let me go and see if I actually watched anything quickly, because I watched.
Buckle in, everyone.
I think I talked about that last time. Sicario 2.
You did, yes.
I did. Okay, in that case, with the upcoming How to Train Your Dragon 3, I rewatched 1 and 2.
Okay.
I still love them. They're pretty fantastic. I personally prefer the first one. I think it's a little bit tighter, and I think the second one, the villain, is probably the weakest element. You know, just whereas the first one doesn't have that problem. I will say, upon rewatching, I found a really annoying problem with the first one that I'm never gonna get past again. Is the first like 20-30 minutes of the movie setting up all this, you know, the training and the rules. It constantly drills into your head that it mentioned at least 3 times in this first 20-30 minutes of how all the dragons, all the different species, they have a limited number of shots, right? You know, for the fireballs, and it's different from species to species but they all have that, and it's really important in this first section, and then it's never mentioned again in either of the rest of the movies, and it really bothered me. Why? Okay, it's something they decided against later on. Take it out of the draft. Just get rid of that in the script then, if you're not going to use that. It really bothered me that they spent so much time in it and then just, won't forget it.
Well, even the masterpiece Back to the Future has a weird thing that it introduces in the first time they use the time travel, where the car shows up really cold and, like, you know, frozen over, and then that never happens again.
Yeah, but at least that's once, right? This is like 3 times they mention this.
Okay.
It's not just a one-off, you know, just a casual mention. It's like, no, this is a key part of their training at the start of the movie. And then just forget about it. As soon as it becomes, you know, as soon as he befriends the dragon, you know, they change sides. That's it. It's gone. It's just out of the movie entirely, and it makes no sense to me, and it really bothers me. But still, fantastic movies.
Yeah, I love How to Train Your Dragon 1 and 2.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That wraps up the movie news then. So what is left to do but to tell you about things that are happening. So you can, of course, like, subscribe, and comment. Let us know what you thought of the news this week in the comments. You can, of course, support us over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and get some bonuses, get some things early, all that kind of stuff. You can support us over there.
You know when you said tell them what was coming?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were gonna, tell them what was happening. I didn't realize you meant plugs. I thought you were gonna go, here's the plan with some scheduling.
Yeah, I'll do that afterwards. It's fine.
Weird.
But yeah, so you can go do that, and you can buy some merchandise even. There's links in the description. You can go buy some shirts and hoodies and shit, should you wish. But you know, that's just all the different ways you can support us. And as for content coming up, we do have some movie reviews planned. We have been knocking them back like constantly though, but we're hoping to squeeze in at least a few of them in the next week or two. Some movies we're catching up on influx specifically of movies from 2018. So just look out for those. Those are
and
then
up. In March we have Batman month, so you'll get a steady flow of content there.
There's a steady flow of Batman movie reviews coming in March too. That is true. So
yeah,
look forward to that. So, but that is us. Thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, guys, and we will see you next time.